how much more could you accomplish over the next year, the next 5 years, 10 years, 25 years if you had your financial house in order? Well, that's what I'm talking about this week on the 1 Minute Retirement Tip podcast and in today's video, which is a deeper dive on this week's topic, life changing money habits. Okay, so I think for a lot of us, if you're not where you want to be financially, I don't know of a single person who is 100% content with where they are financially in life. And so, it can be easy though to get overwhelmed by all of the things that you should be doing. You hear this all the time. You should have an updated will. Most people don't. You should be saving 10, 15% of your income towards retirement. A lot of people are very far from that. So it's really hard to understand where to start. And so in today's deeper dive video, I'm going to give you an overview of the 5 life-changing money habits. These are the things that if you do these well and if you do them right, they're going to set you up for financial success over the long term. On the other hand, if you do them wrong or you ignore them altogether and don't do them at all, then they could put you on the path to financial ruin. And so, to help you figure out where to start, though, I kind of lay out in sequential order what you want to do. I know I'm a big fan of Dave Ramsey. He does, in terms of specifically getting out of debt, he does that exact same thing. He focuses on baby steps. Do this first, and then this, and then this, and then this. So, in today's episode, I'm going to talk more about what are those 5 things that if you do these right, you're going to be okay financially. All right, so let's get into these 5 life-changing money habits. First of all, track your spending. This is the most important. Even the most financially savvy among us, people who I see make really good decisions with their money, they have good habits overall. They're not spending more than they're making. They're saving enough for retirement. They're kind of checking all of these boxes. Most of us still, even if that's you, most of us still have no idea where our money goes every month. Or at best, we have this vague understanding of how much we spend. But we should all know exactly how much we spend on groceries, gas, eating out, other bills like your mortgage, things like that. But most of us really don't. And so that's where I would start. If you're not doing that, it is the key to unlocking everything else. So if you want to get out of debt, if you want to save more for retirement or save for a remodel on your house or a big vacation you want to take, and you don't seem to find the money to do those things, then the first place you're going to want to look is what you're spending. We have a good handle usually on what's coming in. We know what we get paid, but we don't have a real good handle at all on what goes out. And so it can by not tracking your spending, it can keep you from not realizing your more important goals in life simply because you just don't know how you spend your money or where it all goes. Okay, then the next one is reducing or eliminating your debt altogether. I find that this is especially important as you get closer to retirement. So, as you approach retirement, I've talked about this a lot on the 1 Minute Retirement Tip podcast. A lot of people will disagree with me, but I really think you should not have a mortgage, and there's a lot of reasons behind that. But if you think about right now, if you look at your outflows, what's going out, how much are you paying in your mortgage payment? How much are you paying in car debt? How much are you paying in credit card loans? So the first place to start, obviously, I think is the credit card loans, because those are usually high interest debt. Car loans are lower than that. And then usually for most of us, when we look at our debt, our mortgage is hopefully the lowest of them all. So there's not a big incentive to pay off the mortgage because the interest rate isn't all that high for most of us. But that's not true, because in retirement, you are not going to want that bill. Most of us spend about a third of our after-tax income on housing, and that's a lot. So if you can get rid of all of your debt, including your mortgage, you're going to be setting yourself up as you approach and enter retirement to be on more solid financial footing. You're not going to have these debt obligations that you're forced to pay to other people. And then on top of that, you're going to have so much more flexibility when it comes to your finances and be able to afford to do more things because you have less bills that you need to pay. So, really, really important to try to eliminate all of your debt before retirement. And then next is beefing up your emergency savings. And so, what I mean by this, so this is geared towards people who are getting close to retirement. If you are working, the standard advice is 3 to 6 months worth of living expenses in the bank, saved for emergencies. And that's a great place to start. But the problem is as you get closer to retirement, when you do retire, you can't just like, if you have this big unexpected emergency, and you're 75 years old, you can't just like work overtime or, pick up a few more hours. It's even much, much harder to find part time work. Like, even just like driving Uber or something like that, is a lot less realistic. So we can't change so much the income side of it. And so it's really important that we have enough in savings to protect and insulate us from emergencies once you cross over into retirement. So the high end of that is what I would recommend: 6 months of living expenses in the bank as you transition into retirement. And then, but that's not all, because if you are also taking portfolio withdrawals, you're going to want even more cash than that. So, my recommendation is, if you look at not your living expenses, but whatever your portfolio withdrawals are, what is that amount? So, if you're taking $2,000 out of your portfolio every month once you retire, 6 months worth of living expense, or 6 months worth of portfolio withdrawals, is 2000 times 6, or $12,000. So on top of your 6 month cushion, you're going to want another $12,000 on top of that. And the reason why is because we want to stop portfolio withdrawals altogether if there is a major downturn in the stock market. You make it a lot worse. So, like, if you look back on what happened last March, and the stock market dropped like 33% in like 14 days or something crazy like that. And so if you could have stopped your withdrawals while the stock market was just going through chaos, then you're not going to make the problem worse. And you can pull from that bucket of money and let your portfolio stay intact and hopefully try to recover. You will recover if you stop your portfolio withdrawals sooner. You're going to recover that value faster and get back to hopefully where you were sooner rather than later. And the reason I recommend 12 months worth of did I say 6 months? I'm sorry. I meant 12 months worth of portfolio withdrawals, not six. This is live. I wish I could go back and edit that, but I can't. So hopefully uh, you'll take note of this. It is 12 months. And the reason why it's 12 months and not 6 months worth of portfolio withdrawals is because the average bear market, the average downturn, major downturn in a stock market where it drops 20% or more, those last 14 months. So and some are longer than that, some are shorter than that. So if you have a year's worth of portfolio withdrawals set aside that you can begin to draw money from if things turn ugly in the stock market and your portfolio drops, then you're not having, you can kind of outlast all but the worst bear markets if that's the case. Okay, next is prioritizing saving for future goals. And I hinted at this a little bit earlier. What I mean by this is most of us, because we don't know where our money goes every month, we aren't, too many of us are not realizing and reaching whatever it is that's most important to us. So if you want to, buy a second home, a beach house, if you want to retire, some people can't afford to do much else than sit in front of the TV during retirement. Even visiting their kids who may live out of state, and buying a plane ticket to do that is a major financial burden for too many of us. And so a lot of us don't end up reaching our most important financial goals, whatever those are for you, because we don't prioritize saving and putting money towards those goals that matter most. Instead, we might spend thousands of dollars every year here or there, like getting coffee, getting a McDonald's, eating out somewhere. Like, these are things that for most of us we do out of convenience, not because we absolutely love Egg McMuffins, although I do love an Egg McMuffin a lot, and I would gladly give up other goals so that I could continue my Egg McMuffin habit. But for most of you, that is probably not the case. So, it's really, really important to know what your priorities are and where you want to direct your money and your savings to. And B, take the steps necessary to do that. So that would include tracking your spending, eliminating your debts or reducing your debts so that you can then funnel money to what matters to you the most. And then the last financial habit that I think is really life changing is increasing your giving. It's really hard for most of us to give at a meaningful amount when we're buried to our eyeballs in debt. We don't track our spending. We don't know where our money goes every month. But if you're doing all the other things right and you're still not giving a meaningful amount of your income, I really encourage you to start there. Because frankly, I see a lot of people's finances, detailed finances, and most of us just are not giving at a meaningful level. We might give here or there, but not systematically. So what I would suggest is go back to 2020, look at what you gave last year, and then I challenge you to increase that. So maybe you gave 2% of your income last year, maybe you gave nothing. 45% of Americans give nothing to charity. So we have to do better collectively in order to support each other and to support those causes that you care so much about. So I really encourage you to make a habit of it by having it go out, set up an automatic contribution to your church, those charities that you love. Set that up every single month so that it comes out at the same time every month. And that way you're going to be more intentional and less haphazard about our giving. Most people, I think, are just very haphazard. They give here or there, and they don't give systematically, though. And so that's why we don't end up giving all that much overall. So I really encourage you to do that, especially if you're doing the other things. So, hopefully, after watching this video, you are inspired to pick something. If you pick just one of these things, it's going to change your life for the better. I've seen it in my own life. I've seen it with my clients who have made changes in some of these areas. It really opens your eyes and opens the possibilities to reaching your most important financial goals, which is what this is all about, anyways. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you like this video, please be sure to subscribe. And if you want to hear more on this topic or other retirement planning topics, be sure to check out my podcast, The 1 Minute Retirement Tip. It is a daily podcast where I bring you quick little nuggets of wisdom in 3 to 5 minutes that are geared towards helping you on your path to retirement. And if you're on the Alexa platform, it is the only podcast on Amazon Alexa in your flash briefing that is focused solely on retirement. So all the links to subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts are below. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Ashley Michike, the host of the 1 Minute Retirement Tip podcast.